So that shows that it does create a compression wave which would have resonated the King's chamber. But what I did realize after knowing Chris Dunn's work, he had surmised that there was a compression wave that came from the subchamber and caused the King's chamber to resonate. So all this valve is, this is actually just a plunger valve. So when water starts flowing by it, it causes enough drag to cause it to slam shut and cause the water to compress, and that compression of the water causes a compression wave, which is a shock wave. It causes a compression wave, and right after that it causes extreme low pressure rarefaction wave, which sucks the valve back open. Now, what I've done here is replicate the subterranean section of the Great Pyramid. Well, this was at the Great Pyramid was a room which is called the grotto and the well shaft. So this water it would elevate to the top of the Great Pyramid. I have it going down into this cement encasing here, which has the subchamber room, it has this assembly in it, which has input shaft and it has an output shaft. This is the output. It also has a line that drops down through the middle and then down to about 2,000 feet down to the Nile River, which was at a little bit lower elevation. It was in front of the Sphinx Temple. And this is the same equivalent as down to the Nile. So down at the Nile there would have been a valve that would have been made out of rock, but it essentially exited underneath the underwater down into the Nile, and all it was a very simple sliding valve, which when water went by it caused the valve to slam shut, and that creates a shock wave. It's a compression wave. It's also referred to as water hammer or hydraulic hammer, and it actually causes a shock wave in the water which travels up the pipe and then is redirected and sent directly into the core of the Great Pyramid. It had some sort of quasi-crystal in there. And a quasi-crystal is essentially a crystalline device, high-tech crystalline device, which would be the Ark of the Covenant, which was that was in the gold box, which was sat in the coffers of the King's chamber.
He studies pyramids, and then he's like, oh, well, they were used to generate electricity. And I'm like, okay, is he some religious nut? But if I look up on Google about this like resonance he's talking about, you find piezoelectric crystals, piezoelectricity. So then it like links to materials that are piezoelectric, and there's like, you can put electrodes on them to get a voltage, and you can buy them. If you press on it, you get electricity. Right? Isn't that cool? So why not get one of these with like a mechanical energy pulse of water, which can push on the crystals, obviously, because like it's a pulse of water, so it pushes on the crystals create an electrical potential difference between these two these two electrodes. The other shaft has another electrode, right? And so in the center you have these pulses of water ramming into these piezoelectric crystals, and we know that piezoelectric crystals produce electricity when they receive a pulse of mechanical energy, right? You can see the light turns on. So why not have that as an explanation for why the pyramids are designed the way they are? Because someone wanted electricity because it might come in handy for light or computer games, whether it's thermite reactors or nuclear reactors or wind or hydro. And this seems to be basically hydro, right? And I'm thinking maybe it's just same thing as a water turbine power, right? But no, piezoelectric crystals, that would explain, basically it would explain why this manga has wizards that use crystals, right? So that is no, but the idea here is people need energy sources, and hey, if the pyramids were power generators, maybe that technology is still applicable today.